back to Amber Unabridged. Today I am here with my TBR for the Get Graphic With It readathon. It is a readathon intended to encourage people to read 10 or more graphic novels over the course of a week. It is hosted by April at April Sarah, Stefanie at Stacks on Stacks and Stacks, Stacks on Stacks on Stacks, tripping over my words here, and Kat at Brews and Reviews. This readathon goes from October 20th to October 26th. It's a week-long readathon. Read 10 graphic novels or manga or comics. For simplicity's sake, they just summarized all of the prompts as read a graphic novel, but any of these visual storyteller type books count towards fulfilling these prompts. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it. So, actually, I additionally, since I found out about it a couple days ago, haven't had time to really spend to try to find or acquire anything else. I found all books that I already own, all graphic novels or manga or comics that I already own. So this is kind of great because one of my personal goals for the year was to read more books that I own. So, and I keep habitually putting off comics because I figure I can get to them anytime, and then I just never do. So we're going to jump into it now. So the first prompt is to start a new series. So I've chosen Ghosted by Joshua Williamson and Gordon Suzuka. I found this at a book sale last year, I think, and I'm just so intrigued. It looks really cool. It's a horror comic. I'm pretty excited about it, and I hope it's awesome. It's the first volume. I also own the second volume of this, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll be great. The next prompt is to read a graphic novel with a hot drink. This can be fulfilled by any of these or any of the additional that are going to make up my 10. The third is to read a full-color graphic novel. Most of the comics that I have are full color, but I've just sort of arbitrarily decided that I'm going to go with Fables, Volume 3, Storybook Love by Bill Willingham and Mark Buckingham. I've been kind of slowly working my way through this series, and it's time to read Volume 3. And it also, as I mentioned, has full color. So, yay! The next one is to read a graphic novel in a comfortable place. I don't like to read uncomfortably, so I think I can manage this pretty all right. Yeah. The next is to read a graphic novel that has been translated. Now, if you've spent any time on my channel at all, you'll know that I am very interested in Japanese literature. I ironically don't actually have that much manga. I am not opposed to reading more manga, and I do want to find more, but I just don't actually have that much. I have like 4 kind of larger series. 5 larger series. Not crazy big, but sizable. And I just kind of tend to revert back to those when I'm in a mood for manga. So, anyway, for this one, I'm going to go with Volume 4 of Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya. Yeah. And I've been kind of in the mood for this story lately. There are 23 volumes, so I read 2 volumes in September, which was pretty great, and I'll read the 4th one for this prompt. The next is to read a graphic novel in a single sitting, and that could probably be any of these, honestly. Prompt number 7 is to read a scary or paranormal graphic novel. For this one, I've chosen Moonstruck by Grace Ellis and Shay Beagle. I think I said that. Yeah, Beagle. This is volume 2. Is there like a... Volume 2, Some Enchanted Evening. So I'd gotten the first volume of this out at the library earlier this year or last year. I don't remember. But it was amazing. It was adorable and sweet. I think it was this year. And it's, I'm going with paranormal, not so much scary. It's so sweet and wonderful. There are werewolves and witches and vampires, and it's just a wonderful story, and it's super cute. And I found volume 2 at Barnes & Noble. I don't own the first one, but I bought the second one, and now I have to buy the first one, because that's how my brain works. So, I'm going to read that for the paranormal prompt. The next one for number 8 is to read a graphic novel that has a book or movie or TV adaptation. So I did pick one that has a book adaptation, or I should say that is an adaptation of a novel. And I'm going with Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey by, what is it? Nancy Butler and Janet Leigh. So, I read Northanger Abbey last year, and I loved it. I love Jane Austen. She's one of my favorite authors, and I've picked this up at some sale somewhere, and now I'm going to read it. So, there's that. Number 9 is to read a book from a host's TBR. There were a number of books that I am very interested in. There are several that I've kind of had on my radar for a while, and I would have chosen any of them. But again, I have been picking books that I already own, and of all of them, there's only this one that I own, which is great because I've been wanting to reread it for a while now. And that is my favorite graphic novel, or I should say my favorite American graphic novel, because Fruits Basket is probably my favorite manga, but it is Lock and Key by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. This is a horror comic set in Massachusetts in an old, the East Coast mansions, and there are these keys that work with the house or with people in a magical kind of way, and there's an evil in the town, and this family has to sort of fight the evil with these magical keys, and it's a wonderful series. I absolutely love it. I'm very excited to read it again. Kat over at Brews and Reviews is going to be reading it, so yeah, that's going to fulfill that prompt. And I do own all 6 volumes of that in a box set, and the bonus volumes with the extra stories and posters. I really love Lock and Key. And then the last prompt is to read 10 graphic novels. So, as I mentioned, I have additional volumes of a couple of those. I decided to grab a couple other ones just to kind of show things that I might grab. Because I'm an incredibly impulsive mood reader. So, I have volume 3 of Chew by John Layman and Rob Guillory. This story is weird and quirky and wonderful, and I enjoy it. This is volume 3. I own volumes 1 through 4, and I have not yet gotten to volume 3 yet. So, that's a possibility. So, this one I found at a book sale. I was intrigued by the author name, but the book itself also intrigues me. It's called Sex Criminals, Volume 1 by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. Chip Zdarsky wrote Kaptara, which is a comic that I read earlier this year or last year, and I loved it. And so when I saw this this one, I was incredibly intrigued. So who knows? Another one that I found at this book sale is Fell, Volume 1, Feral City by Warren Ellis and Ben Templesmith. I love the aesthetic of like paperwork and type font, and I just love it. And it just looks kind of creepy and eerie. I feel like it'd be a good October book. And then another one that I found, I think I found most of these at this sale. I've been interested in getting into comics more since last year, 2-3 years ago ish. Last year's when it really kicked off after I read Lock and Key for the first time. But this one is kind of fun. I don't actually know who the author is here. Something Monsterous by Steve Niles and Stefanie Buscema. If you know how to pronounce that, please let me know. But yeah, it's just kind of like, it looks like a horror comedy of some sort. So or possibly just horror, but who knows? Again, kind of spooky. It's October. Why not? I have to read 10 of them. So that's my TBR. I might read something else. I've got a few other ones that I didn't mention. I have multiple volumes of some of the series that I did mention. And who knows, maybe I'll end up at the library or the bookstore sometime this week and end up with something entirely new, because who needs self-control anyway? So, thanks for watching, and if you are participating, let me know. If you like graphic novels or comics or manga, comment down below. Let me know if you have any recommendations based on anything you think I may enjoy, or if any of these look or sound intriguing to you. I know I didn't go into a lot of what they were about, but I don't know what half of them are about yet, so I couldn't tell you. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching again, and I hope you have an excellent time. Happy reading.